With Tua being benched before the Dolphins' Week 16 matchup, we're going to look ahead to who may be the Dolphins' next quarterback and what's next for Tua in his career. Let's go ahead and get into it. Tua has honestly been solid for the Dolphins through 6 years with them, but at the end of the day, he hasn't performed well enough. This season, he's been especially bad, leading the league with 15 interceptions. In his two playoff appearances, he's yet to win a game, and they are now eliminated from making the playoffs this year. Throughout Tua's tenure in Miami, he's had a couple solid defenses to support him as well, and he's had weapons. Tyreek Hill and Waddle have been on the Dolphins since their first postseason appearance in the Tua era, which if you remember, Tua didn't actually play that game due to injury. But the point still stands that he's had two great receivers since he's been on the Dolphins, and he's had support on defense as well, as the 2023 Dolphins had a top 5 defense according to PFF. In other years, they've been around average in the league. One of the bigger problems for the Dolphins, though, into his tenure has been their O-line. Has always been ranked around average, if not below average, since Tua got there. But outside of that, he hasn't been set up for failure. Of course, one of the biggest issues for Tua has been injuries, specifically concussions.
You're thinking about the back, the ankle, but he gets thrown to the ground.
Again, wrenching that back, which was the issue last week.
Yep.
So they work on him. We'll step away for a moment.
And that takes us to what went wrong with Tua in Miami and why I would say he's on his way out. He is consistently injured, and honestly, his play this season was just bad. And it's kind of clear that the concussions and injuries have affected his play. Of course, Tyreek Hill got injured this year, and the defense was worse this year than in the past, and the O-line was especially bad this year, and there's been a lot of other contributing factors this year, but it also just shows that Tua can't overcome that. Although giving him the benefit of the doubt, this was the one year he was set up for failure, but like I said, earlier in his career he hasn't been. But with all that considered, what will Miami do next year at quarterback? Because of the cap hit Tua will leave behind, it wouldn't surprise me if next season the Dolphins let Quinn Ewers cook if he looks solid through the last 3 games this year. They most likely won't be able to trade or sign a QB due to the massive cap hit of over $50 million that Tua will carry. I doubt the Dolphins would re-sign Zach Wilson considering they're giving the start to Ewers anyway, and understandably so. There won't be many options when it comes to veteran quarterbacks this season that would actually be worth a worthwhile shot. And when it comes to the draft, Mendoza just won the Heisman, but I feel like he'll go higher than the Dolphins pick, around 10. Of course, there's Dante Moore and Ty Simpson as well, but there's no guarantee either of them declare. And I think it's best for the Dolphins just to wait a year to draft a quarterback. I think that first they should finish flipping assets, try to add an offensive lineman through the upcoming draft. You gotta trade Tyreek Hill because he clearly wants out. And honestly, at this point, the Dolphins might also look to find a new coach, as McDaniel has also contributed to part of the issue in Miami.
To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game, honestly. And that is how you lose the game. You're moving.
But going back to the main point of the video, what is next for Tua? Tua is at least getting the bag, even though his career as a starter is most likely over, and with his concussion history, it may just be best for him to retire after the Dolphins cut him. Let's just take a look at what other options may be out there for him. With that said, there's definitely a couple teams out there that may give Tua a shot. If the Colts don't re-sign Daniel Jones, it wouldn't surprise me if they were to give Tua a chance, but they are way likelier to re-sign Daniel Jones than go for Tua. Two more realistic teams, though, for Tua would be the Steelers and the Vikings. Of course, McCarthy could show improvement through the end of the year, but some healthy competition in Tua wouldn't be the worst. Of course, he wouldn't be an expensive quarterback for the Vikings to sign either. Kevin O'Connell has also helped quarterbacks revive their careers, and although I don't quite see it with Tua, you never know. With the Steelers, Rodgers is most likely retiring this offseason, and they don't have a replacement ready. I do believe, though, that Will Howard can become a solid NFL quarterback, but I don't know if that's quite going to happen next year. I think Tua could be a solid bridge for the Steelers, though, even though he probably isn't a quarterback one in the NFL past the year 2026. To wrap up the video, I'm honestly uncertain about the future of Tua's career, but I think it's clear at this point that he's not starting material in the league anymore. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys come back for more.